You're watching Lansdowne Raw, the voice of the fans. I'm Martin Prendergast, joined by Conor McAvoy as we catch up with the latest news in Irish football, including Obig, Evan Ferguson a doubt for March, and Devaney in fine goal-scoring form on loan from Man United, of course. And we'll also catch up about Ireland possibly playing a friendly before the World Cup, before we take part in the World Cup, of course, in Canada. So it's Lansdowne Raw and it's live. How you getting on, Conor? Good weekend, busy weekend for you as usual. I'm sure getting on well.
Yeah, I'm trying to figure out. I always try to think like, what did I do at the weekend? Was I busy or not? And the reality was I probably wasn't busy. I don't know what I did other than watch football. But yeah, always good to be back on a Monday night. It's always the best show, isn't it? To catch up on what's happened over the weekend and get people's comments and see who has much stories to tell us or whatever about what they've seen. But yeah, I was watching Sheffield United against Middlesbrough. There was a bit of a disappointing game. Only Alan Brown of the Irish perspective played. McGuinness, Cannon, Ogbene all unused subs. So especially after Ogbene scoring last week, I thought he might have got more minutes tonight. But I think Andre Brooks is the main man in that position for them at the moment, which is fair enough. He's doing quite well. But yeah, I'm good. Good to be back on. It was an interesting story by Dan McDonald there. It was one that got me quite excited, to be honest with you. Because obviously, you know me, I'm having in my head we're going to the World Cup no matter what. But then something like that is kind of like, oh yeah, we're actually going. And I even looked at flights to Montreal, and if you wanted to risk it already, I think from Dublin you can fly to Montreal for like $450 on like the 4th of June,
Dear.
and from London it's like $350. So it's actually quite good value. So hopefully someone leaks it to me or something, or someone leaks it to one of us that we're going to be playing on a certain date in June that we can get a bit good cheap before everyone else does. But anyway, how you doing?
Yeah, not bad, thanks. Yeah, great to be on again. We want to hear from you, the Raw faithful, this evening on the comments, of course. Make sure you can ask us anything you want. Stay classy, of course. Lots and lots to discuss. Obviously, the League of Ireland's back. Enjoyed the coverage of that over the weekend. Enjoyed the live show that we did as well, where the lads, where the lads have all caught up, and we had a bit of a live show, didn't we? A phone-in show. It worked out really, really well. So we're looking forward to obviously doing that again. And a busy weekend. We're going to get into Obig later on in the show, of course. But let us know who you thought stood out over the weekend. Are you worried about Evan Ferguson now being possibly a doubt for March? We've had Gasparini, the Roma manager, coming out with some comments, which you're going to cover that, of course, as well. But if you are new to the show or watching along, you're very welcome. Make sure, please, that you do subscribe to the channel, because we're trying to build that, especially with such a big year in Irish football ahead of us. You can follow Conor, of course, at Rep Tracker. I'm at PrenDM. We've also got L_Raw for the on X. We're on Instagram. We've got the Facebook page as well. Lansdowne Road, of course, which fantastically ran by Dave. And we're also on TikTok as well, I think. So we're on lots and lots of social media platforms. And if you do want to contact us as well, because we do love hearing from you, you can also email us as well. And I do have a little, I don't know where that is. You can drop us a message at pod@lansdowneroar.ie. We've got our website. We're working on that at the moment. But yeah, lots and lots of ways of contacting us, because we are the voice of the fans and we want to hear from you.
Are you sure that's our email?
That is our email, yeah.
Is it not general?
Oh, maybe. No, it can't be. Pod@Lansdowne. Oh, of course it is.
Oh, well, every time I send emails to you and Dave together, I usually send it to general at Lansdowne.
Oh, well,
we'll have to get Dave. We'll have to get Dave to make sure, because I think Dave sorted the emails. But I don't understand why do we have general and pod? Would it not just be one thing? So anyway, I blame Dave. Anyway, he's not here tonight.
Yeah,
never is here on Monday night. Doesn't join to the premiere show, as he likes to call it. But yeah, obviously, and you can always send us a DM and something. But sometimes you don't get a response on DMs.
We'll do our best to get back to you, of course. But just obviously, we like to emphasise, as do some other shows sometimes, that we don't work for the FAI, we don't get tickets, we have no input on the availability of tickets for Czechia. But we can try and put you in contact with people if you are looking for tickets for things and stuff like that. But yeah,
but not for Czechia. Not for Czechia.
Don't message us about that. No hope. Anyway, looking forward to that though. Not far away, of course. The FAI are going to be confirming, I think, this Friday to all the applicants, whether they were successful or not. Over 6,000 applications, I said, for that one. Huge demand. Going to be thousands of us over in Czechia, in Prague. Can't wait for it. An Ireland trip away. And that brings me nicely on to, if you would like to support our wonderful show and channel, we will have a description in the show notes of how you can purchase your we've got very few of these left, actually. We've got a wonderful sticker collection with Heimer, Coleman, Parrott, and Collins. We've got to put an image there as well. We've got beer coasters as well. These have gone far and wide. We've had orders from Florida. We've had orders from Australia, obviously the UK as well, and Ireland, of course. So, yeah, if you do want to get them, they are available. Last few sets. We might have to do another print run. We'll see how we get on with that. But absolutely brilliant support of that. It does help us, obviously, keep going with the channel. As I said, we've got lots and lots of things planned. And if you do want to support us as well, you can check out Lansdowne Raw Plus. That's where we do our Raw Retro. We also do the State of Play, which is our take on everything in football in general. And I'm sure that'll be an interesting one this week when we get to it. Probably covering the Man City and Liverpool game over the weekend. Man United's fantastic run as well. And we've got support the page as well. You can also buy us a coffee. Right.
Yeah.
I think that's
we have the predictions. We have League of Ireland, obviously, it'll be out Wednesday. And the first round of predictions will be over between myself and Dave. And actually, Dave is quite against us, but I think we should do a forfeit for the loser every week or at the end of every month. So if you can think of an idea of something that myself or Dave can do if we lose each week or each month, put in the comments, because I can't think of it, and really that's not because Dave's like, he won't do something unless it's pretty harmless. But yeah, you'll have to let us know. Hopefully. I think I won the first weekend. I have a feeling I won, but I'm not 100% certain. But I think I won. But anyway, we'll get into the show and we'll save that for Wednesday.
I can't believe I wasn't invited on this thing. This is just because you're racist towards me, and you don't want me to be. You just don't want me to be interested in the League of Ireland. That's what it is.
Well, if you want to be involved in the predictions, you can.
I will, and I'll beat both of you.
Join from this week on.
I will. I'll play catch up on it, and I'll still beat you. Right. Let's get into it. The starting point, I suppose, as we put up in our cover here, Ferguson are marched out. This is a little bit worrying news, isn't it, Connor? I was going to say the main man, but he's kind of not, is he? But he's a key player for Ireland, obviously, Evan Ferguson. But he's out at the moment. Gasparini has just made some comments again. He's always worth a comment, that lad, isn't he? He's not the most popular amongst Irish fans, but he's just kind of given a little bit more information on probably the struggles Evan's had over the years. And he just said, this is the fourth sprain he suffered. He was out for about a year with an ankle injury last year, so the situation's become a bit complicated. That's what's happened. We're working to get him back on his feet, but every time he changes direction, the ankle seems to sprain. It's one ankle or the other, but the one he had an operation on is the most problematic, which hasn't completely solved the problem. We're all working to try and fix the situation. From a psychological point of view, he's not very pleased and is very depressed. We're trying to help him recover and get him back on his feet. It's not easy because it takes 12 weeks each time. Last time he got hurt avoiding the photographer. Whenever he's been available, he's always played, but that's part of the problem for this player. It's gone better for him this year. Last year, he practically never played. Obviously, March is around the corner. If he's anyway fit, he'll be selected only by Heimer. But that's a bit worrying, isn't it? That this recurring injury. He's a young lad, as we said. But also, I think just kind of being a bit empathetic to him. He's a young lad, and it's worrying as well, saying that he's, like a bit depressed about you, which you would be.
It's not.
You're not playing football.
That's not worrying. What is worrying? Have you ever had bad injuries? Have you ever had bad injuries? I know it's the worst thing that ever happened to you.
Oh, I know that. Yes, I'm saying
but it's not.
Mentally,
I'm not worried because I know it's just the natural thing of anyone, even to play a sport at any level. Injuries are the worst thing you can ever do.
Yeah, exactly.
And like it never, but it pushes even further to put the work in and the recovery and make sure everything's perfect, nutrition and the gym works perfect. That he's back as soon as possible. But obviously, when it keeps happening, but. You said 12 weeks. I think, did you read that wrong? I think it's a couple. Did he say a couple of weeks at each time?
Oh,
it's definitely not 12.
Well,
he's not out for 12 weeks. No, but he's definitely not out for 12 weeks.
But that's what he said.
But that's what he said. Yeah, well, that's what he said. But like, obviously, because if he was out for 12 weeks, he'd be missing March. But he won't miss March. Like, he's going to be back unless he gets injured between now and then again. But yeah, it's such a tough time.
I read that from the RTE.ie. So
maybe they took the translating wrong because I have a feeling I read it from somewhere else, the Roma website, and they said it takes a couple of weeks at each time. I think maybe he said 2 to 3 and they misquoted it. I don't know where they got 12 out of. But yeah, that being said, it is awful, and as you said, it is awful depressing. Like for him, and I'm not worried that he's depressed over it or he's feeling sad because it's not really bad depression. It's just over the
Mm,
injuries and that they just keep recurring. And I know he will get over to a stage, and it's just about making sure his body's right and keep it going and going. Like the one in the pickup last time in Europa League where he's avoiding the photographer, like how unlucky can you get? But yeah, there's not much you can really do or say other than you just have to hope that it just stops becoming a recurring problem, which I do think it is because like it all started probably originally when Fabinho nearly killed him on that time when
mm,
he broke through and then against Liverpool in the FA Cup. And then this season he had what did he have one ankle issue at the start, and he was out for a few weeks, came back, and then he nearly got remember he got poleaxed after 15 seconds on his first start back, and he
mm,
had to come off after that. And you're thinking, oh, for God's sake! But then it was the thing of the he got the dead leg or the dead back, whatever it was. We got the knee in the back, and he recovered quite all right. And then he went and done the ankle against the who were they playing in the Europa League? I can't even remember. But yeah, I was Stuttgart, wasn't it? So yeah, it's just so disappointing. It's disheartening for him, disheartening probably for Roma fans, Irish fans that would just want to see him go out there and do well. And because like he's not like as a dislikable lad or anything. We're one of these lads where people want to feel everyone wants Evan Ferguson to do well, no matter who you are. And like because of obviously the media circus has been around him since he's 17, 18, or even you could say what was he 14
yeah,
when he played for Bowes against Chelsea. That whatever knew he was then, we didn't have a circus around him. But when he broke through at Brighton as an 18-year-old, we hadn't really seen the likes of it ever for an Irish player. Probably won't ever again. But yeah, I just hope that he's obviously doing right. But I know he is. I know it's just that he's just going through the psychological troubles that every footballer goes through. And like he could think worse. He could be Josh Cullen now with a torn ACL, missing the World Cup, missing
yeah.
maybe his last chance of ever playing in the Premier League. So yeah, Evan Ferguson has a long career ahead for club and country, and I'm sure he'll be all right.
Yeah, hopefully, of course, and wish him all the best for recovery. I mean, Roma, we've been a bit frustrated, haven't we? Like, as I said, with Gasperini, his comments and sometimes a little bit negative towards him again. I mean, they were in action tonight, and the player that we were a bit worried about coming in there, Malin, he got 2 goals to them tonight, didn't he? In their win against Cagliari. So, um, you know, probably that's not great either in a sense that, the player who's came in is scoring, but, good for the club, I suppose, but just not great for Evan. But hopefully he will be back in action soon. And of course, we'll have it all covered here when he is back and firing. We will get on to Obig, as I said, but yeah, look, another player who done particularly well over the weekend as well was Jacob Devaney on loan, of course, up in Scotland, and a goal already. And lots of hype about this lad, isn't there? It was a fantastic goal.
Yeah.
Connor, what did you think of it? And
Yeah.
like, is the hype justified?
I think the hype is certainly justified, or the I don't know because it's not like he's getting the Ferguson hype, but he's getting a
Mm,
lot of praise, is what I'd say, and a lot of fans are clamoring for him to get called up in March, which I'd probably say pump the brakes right now. Not in a negative way. I just think that it's going to be very hard for Heimer to pick a new player in March, particularly in midfield. A lot of, like he's playing for St Mirren, he's not playing for he's not like he's playing in the championship with Middlesbrough or Sheffield United or Stoke or somewhere because it is obviously it's not as good as a league, but he is in a decent side playing beside Killian Phillips in the middle of the park. And yeah, he was brilliant. We spoke about in the midweek review last week. He was brilliant against Hearts, and then Friday night in the cup against what's it, Airdrinians, whatever you call them.
mm,
He scored after 19 minutes, and he didn't just score; he scored an absolute cracker. Smashing the ball in top corner, one touch finish into top left hand corner. He only played 65 minutes in total, which is probably not a bad minutes spell to play in 60 and 70 in your first 2 games in real senior football. I know he played in that Virtue Trophy United and was playing against League Two and League One teams, but not it was probably some of the rotated League One and League Two teams, so it wasn't a proper league and format. And then but also it was good to see Roland Adowa, who came on after half an hour, I believe, um, for St Mirren. He scored in the 115th minute to win the game for them and got man of the match. So it's another Irish lad, another young Irish lad doing well for St Mirren, as well as obviously Phillips is doing very well for them. See people say he's one of the greatest ever signings, which is good to see about an Irish lad. But yeah, Jacob's doing unbelievably well. He's one of many. I made a TikTok earlier today talking about himself, Jade Nume, and Aaron Ochoa. And then since I released that TikTok, Aaron Ochoa has actually signed a new contract at Malaga, new 4-year deal until 2029. I'm sorry, 3-year deal until 2029. Doing exceptionally well. He came on last night for Malaga, put it on. I thought he was very impressive off the bench. Always looking to get the ball, always looking for the ball in the feet, take it on the turn, drive forward with it. Player with real low center of gravity, but technically super. Obviously, been playing in Spain his whole life. He's been at Malaga since the age of 9, and yeah, it's a big coup for Malaga, big coup for him probably to stay at his home club that has brought him through the ranks, and they're going to trying to win the second division of Malaga, or sorry, Malaga of Spain. So he could be playing in La Liga next year, which would be great to see. And I think he's a cert to make his 21s debut for Ireland in March. And then the thing is, if they get promoted next season and he's playing regularly in La Liga, he has a great chance of becoming a senior international and sooner rather than later. And then obviously Jade Numa spoke about him last week about the goal in the Conference League, the Youth League, and then he got an assist at the weekend against Braga 23s, and then set up the winner, basically put the ball across, and then the boy the tapping, but the keeper saved the shot, and then someone else tapped it in. So yeah, he's doing really well. But that's three lads are doing well, and I think Joe Maloney definitely deserves a shout out after he scored his first goal for the club last Monday night, or in the league, and then was very good last night, and then now he's signed a new contract. So it's an Irish lad that's doing really well in Spain.
Nice one. Yeah, all sounds very, very positive. The other story we're just going to cover before we get on to OBIG and find out how the lads got on, of course, over the weekend is this kind of breaking story, I suppose. A friend of the pod, Dan McDonnell, from the Independent, of course. He said that Canada need to find opposition for a home friendly in Montreal on the 5th or 6th of June with a game against World Cup newcomers Uzbekistan already penciled in on June the 1st. And it's emerged that Ireland are going to be one of the teams, possibly the opposition for this. They want to kind of have a strong candidate for the match, which will take place during a window where nations who do not reach the competition will also have to play friendly encounters, obviously, of preparation for the World Cup. If Halgrimsson's side emerged from the March playoffs, they would have to travel across the Atlantic earlier than most nations because their first group game would take place on June the 11th. That's day one of the tournament, with Canada starting their campaign in Toronto on June the 12th. FIFA regulations, which stipulate that teams need to be in a host country no later than 5 days before the opening game, mean that Halgrimsson's side would travel from Canada to Mexico in the best case scenario of the playoffs, ending a 24-year wait for participation in football's biggest tournament. But yeah, this is also not just determined by whether we qualify or not. It's quite realistic. This is seemingly may happen. So we could be off to Montreal, as you said earlier, Connor, and you've been pricing flights, as you said. But that's quite exciting, isn't it? You know, it's good. I think we're positive, we're planning, and you know, we're on our way to. We're going to travel over there a bit early and get settled in. Looking forward to that.
Yeah, yeah, I think it's great. We can speak some French as well, even though I don't know a word of French. But yeah, I think it's great. I think it would be a great build up to the World Cup, and God forbid we don't qualify. It would be a nice away trip to go to, wouldn't it? Travel to Montreal, go to Canada for a few days anyway. And the reality is, like, all our group games are in two in Mexico, one in America. So we could at least say that when we qualify, we've covered all three countries at minimum, even if the group stage doesn't go well, or we get out of the group stages, and we our knockout games are in Mexico and America. So we'll cover all three countries in our short couple of weeks in North America. So yeah, I think it's a brilliant idea. Hopefully it happens. I'd imagine if something like this is coming out, it's very likely to happen. I'd be shocked at this stage if we don't end up playing Canada and Montreal, and it would be a great test to build up because they're a good side. They're not like England or France or Brazil. We're playing sides are probably that we can beat, and then the teams in our group will probably be a similar level to Canada, and it's good preparation in the style of that North American style that like sort of Mexico might be, and getting used to the weather. I'd probably be the big thing is adjusting to the climate over there in summer, where we wouldn't really have it in playing maybe European teams or even playing at home, even though it might be warm at home at the time of year, the humidity and stuff would be quite different. But yeah, I think it's great and I hope it does happen. But I do want us to have a home game before we go away to the tournament anyway, because you want to give the players a bit of a send off and a bit of something happening in Dublin before it happens. But imagine that always happens, does it? They always have a send off game and
yeah. I mean, well, it's been a long time since we qualified for a World Cup, of course. But yeah, we did have one then. I think was it Nigeria? I think we played. But yeah, and obviously we played the Dutch in 2016 because then we travelled down to Turner's Cross for the Belarus game, which we actually lost. And then that's when Martin O'Neill obviously picked the squad then and left a lot of lads disappointed. But we also have a very important week, don't we, this week, Connor? On Thursday. Looking forward to this. aren't we?
Oh yes, forgot about that. Yeah, forgot about
Yeah,
that.
forgot about that. Look at that.
Yeah.
Thankfully, I'm on the ball this evening. Yeah, that's the Nations League 26-27 draw. And we've got a fantastic article on our website, lansdowne.raw.ie, by one of our fantastic writers, James Agnew, and he's let everybody know what the essential guide basically to it. So it's going to be at 5 o'clock. We're going to obviously do something in the immediate aftermath of the draw, or perhaps even during it. We'll see how long it
Yeah.
goes on for, what UEFA are like. But it's going to be really, really interesting, of course. And we'll know then who we're going to be playing. And in a revision to previous kind of competitions of this, big, lots of match days, lots of awkward kind of trips, I suppose, or dates where everyone's got to try and get to games, and there's just a big kind of deluge of games all at the same time. So that's going to be one of the challenges, obviously, for fans. But do check out that article on our website, lansdowne.raw.ie. And James has done a fantastic job with that. But yeah, we're really excited for that, of course. We'll be covering it and seeing who we get. And that's obviously
Some
something that I'm
tough. No,
pretty,
there's no way. I
pretty
don't think there's an easy draw. Not at all, isn't there? There's no
no,
easy.
there's not. No,
It's
really
all tough.
difficult.
Yeah.
Yeah. Uh, um, so yeah, I mean,
Weekly
just to
draws,
go through
really
it
hard.
quickly, the League B, we're in League B, of course. We'll determine 4 groups of 4 teams. Pots are as follows: Ireland are in pot 3, but we can get from pot 1, we can get Scotland, Hungary, Poland, or Israel. Pot 2, we can get Switzerland, Bosnia Herzegovina, Austria, and Ukraine. And pot 4, Sweden, North Macedonia, Northern Ireland, and Kosovo.
That is no
So a
easy at all.
big,
Wait,
no,
we're
tough.
all I know is we're either drawing Israel or Hungary in the bot because obviously everything that's going on in Israel and
Mm,
it's just what is what'll happen, or we'll get Hungary again because that's always what happens. And you draw a team once, you get them again, especially
yeah,
after the drama of March, and it'll be the big thing of them getting their revenge on us. So yeah, there's not. You could end up getting a ridiculously hard draw like Scotland, Austria,
yeah,
and then Sweden. Like that would be an absolute nightmare. But I guess that's what the Nations League is. You kind of play teams on your level for the way
yeah,
football works, and but there's a lot of good away trips in there. A lot of trips you'd enjoy
yeah.
go to. So yeah, it'll be good.
Yeah, I mean, look, probably the only good thing I'd say about it is some of them teams, decent sized stadiums is one good thing, and we know with the
Mhm.
huge interest in Irish football now, and I know everyone's not going to get tickets, obviously, for Czechia, but, we just know that some of the opposition we have now, people are really getting behind the Irish team, which is fantastic to see. So hopefully that will be something that will be from the draw might be a bit positive, of course. But yeah, that's coming up on Thursday, so we'll have it all covered here. So make sure, as I've said before, make sure you subscribe to the channel. Yeah, mate. That way you get notifications of when we're doing shows and what's coming up. So you'll be able to join us, of course. Right, Connor. Where to next? We'll go to Obig. See how
Yeah,
we got
we
on.
will indeed.
Right, here we go. Keep your comments coming in. We'll get through to them, of course, as well. But here we go. This is Obig, where we catch up with how the lads got on over the weekend or recently. Because we did a match tonight, of course. Here we go. This is the goalkeepers. Queeving Kelleher, 90 minutes in a 3-2 win for Keith Andrews, Brentford. Max O'Leary, 90 minutes in a 0-0 draw versus Stoke. Josh Keeley, 90 minutes in a 2-1 win versus Bradford for Luton. Mark Travers, an unused sub for Everton. And Gavin Bazunu, still out injured at Stoke. Anything notable there? I mean, look, we keep talking every week. We talk about Brentford, and it is built, I think, on our fantastic number one, of course. But yeah, anything notable from
Mhm.
the goalkeepers?
Hey, Mark Travers is still running in Finland. I heard that's why he's not been playing for Everton. But yeah, no, not really. Well, Josh Keeley's still number one in the clean sheets tallies for League One this season. He should have got one at the weekend, and Bradford got a goal back. What was it, 93rd minute or something? So a bit disappointing. But other than that, yeah, Keller had a good game against Newcastle and was solid. Although he obviously did concede 2 goals, but yeah, he couldn't really do it, which is good to see him pick up another 3 points.
Yeah, I mean, just to talk about, I mean, we do obviously increasingly cover like the Premier League now and obviously Championship and things like that. But I was listening to Talksport over here today, and they were just talking about Arsenal obviously going to Brentford on Thursday night in the Premier League, and they were talking about like the success that Keith Andrews has had. And I didn't really remember this, but when they went to the Emirates, they lost 2-0, and he kind of rested lots of players and stuff like that. I
Yeah,
think he didn't
Collins was on the
start.
bench.
Yeah, and they said that's how they approached it, and will they do that again the same here now? But I just think they didn't. name Collins. I mean, they named the striker who scores their goals. Who's that? Tiago.
Thiago, yeah, Igor
Yeah, they
Thiago,
named
yeah.
him, saying like, "Oh well, he's scoring goals for fun and things like that." But didn't actually. I was disappointed. Kind of maybe just not very informed, but they didn't really mention the impact that Keller has had there, or even
Big.
Collins' form and stuff. So I mean, they mentioned Jordan Henderson. I suppose maybe they're just a bit biased with the English players or whatever it is,
Yeah.
but definitely their success this season and rightly getting celebrated. Of course, Keith Andrews' brilliant performance so far as manager there, but not probably given the credit, I think, on TalkSport when I was listening to it earlier, which was a bit disappointing. But Kelleher, fantastic so far. Right,
Yeah.
here we go to the defenders. Robbie Brady is back on the grass at Preston. We've said that for a few weeks now, but still recovering. John Egan, 65 minutes in a 3-2 loss versus Bristol City. Seamus Coleman not in the squad, but he was up in the stand with David Moyes. Nathan Collins, an unused sub for Brentford. Matt Doherty, 45 minutes in a 3-1 loss versus Chelsea. Joshua Hunnan out injured at the moment with Lincoln. Jake O'Brien, 90 minutes in a 2-1 win versus Fulham for Everton. Andrew Omobamidele, 57 minutes in a 2-1 loss versus Le Havre. Darragh O'Shea, 90 minutes, a 2-1 win versus Derby for Ipswich. Liam Scales, 120 minutes, 2-1 win versus Dundee in the Cup. James Abankwah, 90 minutes in a 1-0 loss versus Southampton for Watford. Jimmy Dunn, 90 minutes in a 0-0 draw versus Charlton for QPR. Callum O'Dowd not in the squad for Ferencváros. Mark McGuinness, an unused sub for Sheffield United this evening. Ryan Manning, an unused sub for Southampton. Aaron Cash, 90 minutes in a 2-0 loss versus Norwich for Blackburn. Anselmo Garcia McNulty, 90 minutes in a 2-1 loss versus Volendam. And Will Ferry, no game for Dundee United. And Corey Ndaba, an unused sub for Lecce. Right. Where to start with the defenders then?
I'm just thinking Ryan Manning here. He has not started a game in a long time. Just looking at my phone here. He has to start since the 17th of January, which isn't that actually long ago, but that's 5 games ago. There's been 4 games since. Been an unused sub in 2 of them. The one after that he played, like in one of them he came on, he played 12 minutes. And then the other he played, I think it was 1 minute. So he's played 13 minutes as out of the last, five games, which is really bad heading into March. I know Wellington is it's defensively is the reason why he's been dropped, because as good as he is going forward, he does struggle defensively, which is a big issue, and it's always been a big issue for him, unfortunately. But yeah, and especially with Callum O'Dowd is still missing. You make sure he just did not get stolen and hungry after our winner, and they're refusing that he's on strike. But yeah, I don't know what the story is with him or why he's not back yet. Martin Petty, you don't know. Collins obviously didn't play at Newcastle. No harm. Andrews did speak midweek about him, about how bad of a knock he took in training last week, and he had a really bad cut, and he had to get some 15 stitches or something. Like a lot of stitches. And then just obviously, I think he could have played the other day, but I think he just, because Ayer and Vandenberg done quite well, he kept him in to play against Newcastle. So fair play to them, they're right. I do believe some breaking news, well, not breaking news, but some news exclusively for people on Lansdowne Roar is that Mr. Robbie Brady will play tomorrow for Preston under 21s, his first game back since getting injured. So big news if you're watching live. He will play, and I believe Andrew Moore is playing as well to build his minutes up as well. So it'd be good to see both of them get minutes and get some minutes in the legs. So there should hopefully be 3 Irish lads playing that game with Shea Reid from Belfast will hopefully be playing up front for them. So yeah, that's good to have him back, and good to get obviously Andy Moore and get some minutes in the legs. Other than that, it was quite a quiet weekend for defenders really. Obviously spoke about how good a week James Abankwah did last week. It was good to see Mbamidele get some minutes back in the legs after the injury. Came on in the 33rd minute. They got a red card, and then the Blues in 2-1 in the end. So, and Jacob Ryan played obviously that big part in that goal for the second goal against Fulham. I don't know. It's one of those ones, I don't know if he done that well, or is it just really, really bad goalkeeping by Leno, who usually is quite good. But yeah, I think it's more. But in fairness, you have to be. He's a big unit, and you put him on the keeper in that instance for a reason. And he can take a half assist in my eyes for it. Like, he did play a part in that goal. But then it is really disappointing to see Seamus Coleman not even in. Obviously he's in the match day squad, but he's not in the, what do you call it, the 18. Was it
Mm.
the 18 they have in the Premier League? Not good to see him not even picked for the bench. Obviously Patterson was there with him. Obviously you can't really trust Coleman in the Premier League, probably with his age, in terms of injuries and stuff, because we all seen what happened at Old Trafford after, even though it is all David Moyes' fault, in my opinion, for trying to start him after playing 2 games starts for Ireland and then bringing him back in the week later. But yeah, it's not great that he got injured. Hopefully he wraps himself in cotton wool until March. But if, for example, that Everton have a fully fit squad between now and March, and Coleman doesn't even make the bench between now and then, it's not good at all, really, from an Irish perspective. It just doesn't look good, even though no one's going to question when he's picked and starts. It's not a good look. And obviously the other right back that has kind of been associated with Coleman over the last couple of years, Matt Doherty, first start of 2026 in the league. He did start in the cup against Shrewsbury. Hooked at halftime, gave away a penalty, so not a good weekend for him either. So, not great for Doherty, even though he was captain for the first half. But yeah, I don't think it was a great week for either right back. But yeah, it obviously makes room for the likes of maybe like someone like Alan Brown to come in, or even Boston Noel played right back in recent weeks. But that's more just injury reasons why both of them have played right back. But yeah, it's not a great position right back at the moment.
Yeah, I mean, I watched Match of the Day on Sunday morning, and I caught the Everton game. I mean, a good, amazing result for them, because Fulham were all over them the first half, and then showed a lot of resilience coming back and getting the win, of course, in the end. And they've done that a lot recently. Jacob Bryan did have another header, I think, as well. And he nearly scored. It was a great save, I think. But yeah, it was interesting though, seeing Seamus Coleman up with David Moyes up quite high up in the stand, watching it from above. I mean, I think there's no doubt about it. He's definitely, in the past when they've had kind of interim managers and Seamus Coleman's been involved in kind of selecting the team a little bit with that. That's the pathway I think he's going down with that at the moment. But, I think Ireland gets a World Cup. He's in that 26-man squad anyway, just for what he will bring leadership-wise, of course. But, yeah, look, he done amazingly well for us in the last 2 games. And it just shows you can't. We're very lucky to have that kind of leadership there, but it is a little bit worried that he's not playing. But I think he will just manage himself to get to the World Cup and play in those games and perform. My worry would be, though, just when we get there, that the games, and they are quite spaced out, I suppose, as well. To be honest, so that's just him going to be going out on his shield.
Just get us the World Cup, Seamus. Just get us the World Cup, and I'm happy. You're happy. I'll die in the morning, happy man. Just get us the World Cup, please.
It's incredible. Incredible, really, though. Like, went to 2016, of course. 2012, though, he didn't get picked for 2012 by Trapattoni. Outrageous, really, looking back. But anyway, just on what the player he is now, of course. Right, here we go. On to the midfielders. Jason Knight out injured at the moment with Bristol City. Killian Phillips, 111 minutes, a 2-1 win versus Adrionians. Will Smallbone injured at the moment with Millwall, who are actually in really good form. Jack Taylor, 75 minutes, 2-1 win versus Derby. Josh Cullen out injured with that ACL at Burnley. Finn Azaz, 90 minutes in a 1-0 win versus Watford. Mark Sykes, 19 minutes in a 3-2 win versus Hull. Jason Malumbi, 90 minutes in a 0-0 draw versus Stoke for West Brom. Andy Moore in 11 minutes in a 1-0 win versus Portsmouth, but as Connor said there, is expected to play for the under-21s tomorrow. Jamie McGrath injured at the moment with Hibernian. Alan Brown, 90 minutes tonight, 2-1 win versus Sheffield United for Middlesbrough. Boston Lowell, 78 minutes in a 0-0 draw versus West Brom for Stoke. And Connor Coventry, an unused sub for Charlton when they played against QPR. And Joe Hodge, 65 minutes, 2-2 draw versus Estoril. And that's your midfielders. Connor, anything notable? Not many goals. Was there any goals?
No goals between midfielders. Sad to see Connor Coventry unused sub, especially was coming up to a position he could be breaking into. He was picking up, he was the probably player of the season. Then he kind of picked up a knock and kind of had to not start the games and managing his minutes for a while. Then they decided Connor Cody on loan, or I thought it was permanent loan. I think it was a loan from Wrexham, and he came into midfield to play the other week. I think he done quite well, and he played the other night in midfield, so he didn't get any minutes, which was very strange to see. But not good if Connor Cody stays in midfield, obviously because he's a centre half and he's an old man at this stage. Bit of a worry, Jason Knight starting to pick up a few niggles here and there, but I'm guessing he will be all right in the long term. Like, it's just a patch he's going through after being fit for so long. Every player goes through small patches of being injured. Other than that, I watched West Brom against Stoke. Really bad watch in terms of a game. Lumby was probably one of West Brom's better players, as he always is. He's always getting about making things happen. And Boston played right back for Stoke. There's only so much he can do at right back. I'd say in his top three positions, it is midfield, then centre half, then right back. Even though he's good at right back, like nothing gets past him, but you can't really see his ability as much when he plays right back, unfortunately. And yeah, other than that, just my joy was back on Saturday, getting to see Andy Moore return to action. He came on, what's he playing total? 11 minutes. He actually had a 1v1 at the very end to make it 2-0 and seal it, and he kind of scuffed it. You could see probably a few nerves or something went through his head when that 1v1. He'd probably too much time to think, if you get me. He was driving from near the halfway line with it. But yeah, it was great to see. I was just delighted to see him back. He'd obviously play tomorrow for their 21, so get his fitness back up to obviously match sharpness, and then hopefully play at the weekend again. I wouldn't guess he'll start because Preston won, but he'll get more minutes in the legs and continue to show how good of a player he is. But yeah, that's the midfield was quite quiet. Alan Brown obviously is back playing in midfield now, because Callum Britton's back fit. Thought he was all right tonight. He got the foul. He got fouled for the tackle that was the red card, so he did win the red card. But other than that, he was just all right. Like, it was just a pretty basic performance, so it wasn't much going on with the midfielders at the weekend.
Okay, right, here we go. We'll get on to the attackers. Right, Spezia Basele not in the squad for Istanbul. Evan Ferguson out injured, as we said at the start of the show as well, still injured. Adamida also injured with Swansea. Casey McAteer, 26 minutes and an assist in a 2-1 win versus Derby for Ipswich Town. Troy Parrott, 90 minutes and a 1-1 draw versus Ajax for AZ Alkmaar. Sammy Schmodix not in the squad, obviously just moved to Derby. Sinclair Armstrong, 19 minutes and a 3-2 win versus Hull for Bristol City. Mikey Johnson, 28 minutes and a 0-0 draw versus Stoke for West Brom. And Rocco Vata, again, out injured at present. Tom Cannon, an unused sub for Sheffield United this evening against Middlesbrough. Chidozie Ogbene, also an unused sub in that game against Middlesbrough for Sheffield United. Tyler Goodrum's out injured with Oxford. Adomo Amaku, 71 minutes in a 0-0 draw versus Coventry for Oxford. And Johnny Kenny not in the squad for Bolton. And that's the strikers. So very, very quiet on the scoring front as well for the strikers. But, a player we've spoke about a little bit, and we know he's not prolific, Sinclair Armstrong. He's not getting a lot of minutes now, though, is he, Connor? And we were talking about him possibly being in that squad in March, as what he offers is so different. But yeah, that would be a bit of a worry, I think, for me. But yeah, look, the lads are out, aren't they? I mean, Troy had a goal disallowed, though, didn't he?
Disgraceful how it was disallowed. I don't know how it was disallowed. It was the players that were in the offside position did not affect it at all. But I guess it's sometimes with how VAR works in the modern time. But yeah, other than that, was quite a quiet one. Obviously, spoke about Evan. No word when Adamid is back. Obviously, Goodrum's out for the season. Kenny, I know he wasn't in the squad, but I don't know whether he was injured or not. And I'm guessing he's still injured, that he picked up that knock at Celtic, and he still was okay to do the medical. But hopefully, it's not in longish term. I don't think they would have signed him on loan if it wasn't anyway. And yeah, Sinclair hasn't been starting as of late again. I think ever since Reece scored a hat-trick in the FA Cup when Sinclair had took his place, and I think he got his place back when he scored that hat-trick. But I wouldn't be surprised if Sinclair starts this week. He actually done quite well off the bench the other day against Hull. But that's probably sometimes the problem, is he can do very well off the bench, and then he's kind of used as that impact sub with the way he offers himself is kind of good off the bench. Other than that, it was good to see Amaku make his debut for Oxford. He'll get a lot of minutes between now and then the season. McAteer got a nice assist for Ipswich, the winner against Derby. Other than that, quite quiet. Obviously, Festi wasn't involved for Istanbul. I don't know what the situation is, if he's going to leave or something between one of the windows, because I seen an Istanbul fan post that he removed all things to do with Istanbul on his Instagram, so I don't think he's probably too happy that he didn't get to move to Wrexham, because it wasn't Wrexham or his fault. It was Istanbul wouldn't let him leave. But then he did play the game after, so I don't know what has happened unless there's other clubs that tried to sign him and then they continued to
Mm.
say no, which is a bit strange. And yeah, obviously, Sammy Smodics couldn't play for Derby the weekend because it was against his his parent club.
Ah.
But Kieran McKenna had some very choice words.
Mm.
Speaking about him, saying that it wasn't he didn't leave really for his footballing ability or to go play men's, it's because of his character and something obviously happened. Supposedly something happened on was it a team bonding trip or something over Christmas to somewhere in Scandinavia. But I know there's all sort of rumors coming out. Like I don't want to say it there because I don't know if they're true or anything. But usually Sammy would address these things, so that kind of gives a little worry. You thought he would have. But yeah, um, that it's strange just how it played out, and obviously, Martin's hit his camera in frustration how much he hates Smodics, but no,
That's the
I
dog.
don't know. It's straight, but it's not a good sign now that he's dropped out of the. He kind of got kicked out of Ipswich, not Ipswich, but he was kind of forced out the door, and is someone like Darragh O'Shea, who's club captain at Ipswich, going to say to Hamer Algrimson what has happened? And is he really the sort of character that we want around an Ireland squad or something? Because we don't know what has happened, or
Mm.
because obviously something's happened. And I'm sure the players at Ipswich all back here in McKenna and whatever has happened because they all love him there and the fans love him. And literally, Sammy didn't really do much for Ipswich at all. And they're probably happy to get him out the door. But yeah, what do you think of this situation?
Yeah, it's a strange one, wasn't it? And yeah, lots of rumors have said it. And yeah, to be honest, Sammy, the kind of character he is, we know he's addressed these things in the past. He's not afraid to kind of directly communicate with Irish fans when they do reach out to him. Um, you know, it's a shame to see because a talented player, but he has flattered to deceive. Let's be honest, he's not really done it in an Irish shirt. It's just something there not comfortable for me that the situation with under Stephen Kenny where he wasn't lots of rumours all around him and stuff. I think we need a harmonious kind of squad there. I think we have that to a large extent. But look, we want to see him playing. But I think you said it, didn't you, previously that the highlight for him in his career was what was it? Playing in the Premier League, was it?
Yeah.
Rather than playing for Ireland and stuff. So this is just I always had concerns in the past with Harry Arter was okay for Ireland and stuff. I'm trying to think. Scott Hogan's another one. I think we've had some players who I don't think ever really brought into the whole Irish thing. It was just a thing of I don't think they really offered much. Their careers kind of showed that for Ireland. And I think Sammy Schmolitz might be one of those, to be honest. But let's see what comes out. I'm sure it does in the end. It will all come out again, anything kind of properly behind all that. But yeah, it's just a bit frustrating, as I said, with the strikers that were not scoring. But look, plenty of time to hit the ground running and hopefully get fit as well and get some minutes as well. Seeing some of the wingers as well. Mikey Johnson's only getting 20 odd minutes, things like
Kind
that.
of wing back as well because his
Yeah,
system changed so
yeah.
strange. But I do think he was in. I actually think he was injured. I think he missed last week's midweek game with injury. I think that's probably why he didn't start. I don't think it's an injuries, but it's just the fact he's playing. The worry for me with him is he's playing as a right wing back as such, or a left wing back, and it doesn't suit him. And obviously, Eric Ramsey's trying to change things at West Brom because they've had an awful season, but they haven't gone well at all with him so far. So I wouldn't be surprised if he ends up getting sacked in the next few weeks if things don't improve there, because they're going to be in a mad panic because a team like West Brom should really be a Premier League club with the size of club there, and they have one of the stronger squads in the Championship, so they should be nowhere near where they are. But I did see actually that Mikey Johnson had big offers from Turkish clubs, and got turned them down because he wanted to stay at West Brom and help keep them up, which is probably a good trait to have.
Yeah. Oh, without a doubt. I mean, look, it's a busy week this week. We've got a lot of Premier League action, as I said. Also the Championship. I mean, we love Boston. So if you do want to check out Boston, he's playing on Wednesday, hopefully against Charlton for Stoke. That'd be an interesting game, of course. And you'll be able to see a bit of Irish interest in that one. That's on Sky. So yeah, that's well worth a watch this week. And we'll have it all covered, obviously, with our midweek roundup and see how we get on. Right, we're going to get on
Martin,
to.
I think
Sorry, go on.
I do think Boston could go back in the midfield midweek, hopefully, because he played for 77 minutes. And Talaroff, who has been playing right back with Boston, because Talaroff's a centre half, and the way Robbins kind of had it when it was just Chamadou was injured, he would still play Boston in midfield, and Chalarov, the Ukrainian lad, would play full back, and then obviously, but last weekend, Bocat and Cresswell both weren't fit enough to start. So at halftime, Chalaroff was having an absolute disaster. They brought Bocat on at left back, put Boston over the right back, and then kind of kept him there because he done very well at right back. So that's kind of why he played right back again. So hopefully that means that, because especially because he took him off, he was planning to see if Boston to play him in midfield, but I wouldn't trust what he does. But yeah, and yeah, we'll go into the comments after you fix your camera. I don't know what you've done. What have you done? Did you hit it?
No, the dog did.
Oh, I don't know.
So I don't know if
Yeah,
I'm
but
going to be able to fix it for where I am. But there you
uh,
go. That's a bit better, isn't
yeah,
it? That's it. Yeah, there you
that's
go.
sound. Yeah, that's it.
I blame the dog. Well, he is
Blame the
just
dog.
next to me.
They always do.
He's come in. He wants to watch. He's watching me in action. He's watching Lansdowne all live.
Don't Kean will get jealous.
Yeah. Right. Here we go. We're going on to your comments. Okay, a bit quiet on the comments this evening, but yeah, thanks again if you are watching along. And don't forget as well, you can also check out the show, the recording of it on Spotify or wherever you get your podcasts. And if you do that, you please do give us a 5-star rating. Really will be very much appreciated. Right, here we go. You might have to do this one, Connor. John Gow says, "Hope you're well." What's that mean?
Please say, what do you think it means?
I hope you're well, Abukali.
Abukali.
Yeah. What's that?
I hope you're well, lads. Hope you're well,
Oh,
lads.
there you go. Okay. Yeah, we are.
Good man, John. Good to have you on the
Man,
show
John.
last Friday night.
Yep.
Hopefully we'll see you again on the LOI show this Friday night.
Yeah. No, I did enjoy that. And like, you know, I got it going, didn't I? First ever
Yeah.
caller into the show. Me.
What?
But no, it was great fun. Do go back and check that out. If you want to do follow the League of Ireland this year as well, lads, do check out the show that we do. Very interactive, of course, on a Friday now and having a phone in as well. And it's brilliant to see it back. I mean, you know, we watched the games there and it was really good. You know, definitely going to be following it a lot more this year. And just a quick one then, O'Connor, just before we go on to the rest of the comments, what was your thoughts? Like Stephen Kenny, he's quite pleased to see the game at the Aviva, wasn't he? Lansdowne Road, of course, saying they should hold a few more games there.
Yeah, but he wants some more in the summer, doesn't he? He said he wants them in the summer because obviously probably kids are off school and bigger crowds. Yeah, I can understand the viewpoint because there's been multiple viewpoints of people saying that it doesn't look great. The thing look was because it was 21,000 in what 52,000 seater stadium, and it did on camera. It didn't look as great as times, and probably if you're a neutral fan or you're a fan of any club other than Bows or Pats, you're kind of giving out about it. But the reality is, I look about it, is 21,000 in a stadium that holds what down. If it was in daily amount, it would have been like 4,500. So you fitted like what 17,000 extra would have been in. I know revenue would be less. You would make less profit because it's more to rent out the Aviva. But yeah, I think I like it. I like the idea of it. Obviously, it's probably better if it's against Rovers. Has my mic gone off?
No, I don't think so.
No,
I think you're
sorry,
right.
just I don't want to happen there. But yeah, so I think if they play Rovers again, maybe in the summer and play it in the Viva, you might get 30,000 like they did last year. But I don't have a big as long as it's great creating revenue and stuff, and like I think it looks good to the likes of the government when you can say, well, we've put 20,000 in for a Dublin derby, you should be giving us funding to make bigger and better stadiums for these League of Ireland clubs because this is what we can provide and the revenue you can create not just for obviously the ground and making a ground that hosts multiple things, but also for local areas because if you've 20,000 going to the match, pubs before the game will have a lot more interest and a lot more people who want to go to it. So yeah, overall I think it's a good thing. I can understand the viewpoint from some other League of Ireland fans saying it doesn't look as great because it's half empty, but like what are you gonna do? If it works out, it works out. Isn't it Leinster when they play games in Croke Park, they close the top tier because they can't sell it or whatever. So I don't as that like thing is it's a dream for every Irish player or players even from abroad to come and play in the Viva Stadium because of how good of a stadium it is. And I would love to play it myself, so I don't understand the big issue with it.
Yeah, no, I think it's well worth doing. It kind of showcases Irish football again. Yeah, it was really good. I didn't watch the game, but like James McManus, obviously Wrist London member, season ticket holder through our club as well. How did he get on? You're on mute. You're messing around with your camera. Camera's gone. No, not the camera.
Can you hear me?
Yep. Go on.
I thought he was decent enough. Yeah, he was good. But Bows were quite poor when he was on the pitch. Didn't have any real possession and stuff, so didn't really have a chance to impact the game. But yeah, It was it wasn't a great game of football. It wasn't. I was surprised with how poor both teams ended up playing in the end. Pats kind of dominated the first half, but did nothing with it. Bows kind of came more into the second half, but Pats kind of got worse, and then they kind of got slightly better. So it wasn't a great game of football. Hopefully the next time there's a game in the Aviva between the League of Ireland teams is better than that, because it just wasn't a great game of football.
Okay. Right, back to the comments. Frank O'Connor, good to see you, Frank. Thanks for your continued support as usual. Good to see you, lads. Hope everyone had a good weekend. Curious, did Manny apply for the last round of World Cup tickets? I was successful getting tickets for Guadalajara and Atlanta, but not Mexico City. Oh, fair play to you. So yeah, I'd not
Yeah,
heard.
fair play, Frank.
Yeah, I'm not.
You're,
I've
you're probably
not
one of the
heard.
few people that actually got tickets in it, because I didn't hear of that many actually getting it. But yeah, fair play to you, Frank. And the thing is, Frank should have probably enough credits at the stage of the FAI to have a good chance with any of them anyway. I'm sure if he can't, if Frank will be, hopefully if Frank's smart enough, he'll if any Irish fans out there that has tickets for Mexico City or something, he'll be able to get tickets through he'll get tickets for the Guadalajara game, for example, and he'll swap it with someone with a spare ticket, and he'll be guaranteed a ticket for all three. But knowing Frank, he'll find a way to be there for all three.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't think that many Irish. I've seen a lot of people say they got turned down. But what can you do? Hopefully, a lot of people will get sorted through the FEI.
Yeah, hopefully that will happen once we qualify, and we will qualify. Christopher Byrne, hi Christopher. What do you think, Alan Brown? What do you think, Alan Brown should be picked for the team for March? I think that's right. Is that right? Should Alan Brown be picked for the team for March? There you go.
I think he should definitely be in the squad. I don't think he should start, to be honest, but I think he should definitely be in the squad because he's done very well. I think he should be our backup right back to Coleman, to be honest with you. But he could play midfield leader, but I don't think he affects the game enough as a midfielder and wants to get on the ball enough in like deeper positions. Was what we need is somebody who wants the ball like that. Although he does, like playing for Middlesbrough tonight, he was kind of playing on the right of midfield three. Obviously, he was three number eights as such, but he was kind of covering the right pocket where he always seems to be most effective. And he's not going to really get a chance to do that with Ireland in that midfield two that we play with, or playing at right. But if he plays right wing back, yeah. But we're going to play Coleman there, so I think he is at this moment in time. He's a better backup to Coleman than Doherty is, and suits our style more because he has that. He's a brilliant athlete. Like he can get up and down, and I think Doherty's legs are kind of gone in that sense of being able to get up and down in that position.
I think as well, Alan Brown, his versatility. You know, we've got the next actual comment is about Josh Cullen, who we're replacing him. Alan Brown can do that job if needed. You know, it wouldn't be my first choice, but you know, he can come into that midfield. He's very versatile and stuff, and you're going to get a good, honest performance, I think, from him. And that question, as I said, Jerry here, who you got replacing Josh Cullen? Well, we're all on the Boston train, but we'd like to see Boston playing in midfield a bit more regularly for Stoke. But
if it's not Boston, what do you want your midfield to be? Because in my head, it's guaranteed that one of them is definitely going to be Malumbi because he's kind of in the last. So it's just who partners Malumbi. It's either Boston, Jack Taylor, Jason Knight, Alan Brown. Really, they're like Gillian Phillips isn't going to come in. I can't think. Is there anyone else? Am I missing anyone obvious?
Will Smallbone's injured, isn't he? So
yeah, he's injured, but he will. I think he will be back, but I don't think he's going to get any minutes at Millwall because they're flying. And I did see that they were possibly thinking of sending him back to Middlesbrough because they thought maybe, well, he's going to be out for a while until March. He's not going to play. There's a way we can send him back unless we do something mad like we did in Hungary and we bring Azaz and play him deeper. But I think that only really works if we're really just going for a game the last 25, 30 minutes and we're losing. We just need to get. But and the other team is sitting back like Hungary did. You could maybe put Connor Coventry, but he's not like he's kind of come out of the team again now for Charlton. Joe Hodge as well, who's starting to play really well with Tondela, but it's Tondela at the end of the day. They're probably a League One standard team, unfortunately. But like the top of the Portuguese league is a very high standard, like Porto, Sporting Lisbon, Benfica are all very good teams. But then there's a dramatic drop off. So it's kind of about Joe Hodge trying to prove at Tondela that he's good enough, and I think he is doing it at the moment. He's doing well, but yeah, I think it's really between Boston, Jack Taylor, Jason Knight, and Alan Brown at the moment. But who do you think should be and will be?
Well, I think Malumbi's certainty for me. I think if Knight is fit, he'll go with Knight. I think he'll do that. It's a
Yeah, I
big.
think he'll, but
I think
Taylor, in fairness, Taylor's
Taylor
starting
does,
and
yeah,
doing
no,
well.
Taylor does, yeah,
Yeah.
he
But I
did.
do think he's good coming off the bench. But I think you just have to risk. I think just risk Boston a while and just put him in. But the only thing is, probably if I was picking the team, if Boston a while is still playing centre half and right back between now and March, it makes it a lot harder. I don't know if I would even have
Yeah,
the ball to do it myself. But if he starts playing, say for example, is it Thursday? Or they're playing Wednesday night because the same time as Man
yeah.
United, I believe, isn't it? Or no, Man United tomorrow. But
Man United
the
tomorrow, yeah.
same time as Premier League games. Um, and well, I'll be watching that over Premier League because I'll be watching Boston. But anyway, who they play by the way?
Coventry. Oh, no,
Coventry.
Charlton. Sorry, Charlton. Connor Coventry.
Also a cup, could be against Connor Coventry. Hopefully, if he plays,
I thought you meant, yeah.
it'd be good. It'd be good to see two lads in midfield up against each other. But yeah, if he starts playing midfield between now and March, and it's like something like 8 games or something, so it's a lot of games between now and the window. So if he gets a run of playing midfield and does as well as I think he is, I think he'd establish himself possibly as the best defensive midfielder in the championship. I think he's that good. But yeah, it's just so hard to start like a young because he still is a young lad in football terms. But I think we might have to take the risk.
Yep. Okay.
Or
Well,
Jacob Devaney, obviously. Jacob Devaney's an option, but we just think it's probably too soon.
yeah, it's too soon. It's
Oh, but not the start. Definitely would. They wouldn't just bring him in and
no,
start him,
no.
but maybe to come into the squad, maybe.
Yeah. Yeah, I can't. Yeah. Okay. Mr. Una Baguette, plenty of tickets being snapped up in the home end. This is in regards to Czechia. Czechia struggling to sell out. Hoping that 6 out of 10 aways will be enough for the away end. Fingers crossed for Friday. Yeah, we'll all be on tender hooks. And just
There you
on
go.
that, just be patient because the FAI are going through loads and loads of applications. And what I find as a chairman of Risk London is we obviously do our club application and you get people being notified. Obviously, the FAI are notifying people, going, I've heard, or I've not heard, and things like that, and start panicking. Just be patient. It was going to take them a long time to get through to everybody. And
Why did
then,
they do it all in? You think? Well, they not just do. I thought they would do it in a sense of they just do it on the build up to Friday, and then they kind of at say 10 o'clock in the morning they send the emails out all at
no,
once, or is it like
staggered.
just
Lots of
staggered?
times it's
Or
staggered. Yeah, yeah.
yeah, but hopefully
Because
you get
I've
it with
had people
6.
say, I've not
Yeah.
heard, like, have you heard at Risk London yet? Because I'm seeing on forums like Why Big and things, people are getting notified. Why haven't we been told yet? So you just got to be a
Oh
bit
yeah. So
patient.
yeah. But
That's
yeah,
all.
hopefully you get your with 6. I don't know what it'll be. But I have seen messages of there's some Czech fella that's trying to sell home end tickets for like €300 to Irish fans who will end up probably paying it. And there is a thing in I don't know if you've seen it. Did I say it last week on the stream that there's a thing in the journalist from Czechia said that they're doing something that you can bring a friend or something. If you have a ticket, you bring a friend, whoever. So,
Yeah.
well, not bring a
Encourage.
friend, but like your friend, you can get a ticket with it. Probably you don't need a membership, whatever. So, like technically, if you have a friend that is from Czech Republic or has Czechia passport, they could technically get a ticket and then get you a ticket with it because you won't need to show ID. But I don't think it wouldn't be a great look if they can't sell out. Although I've meant to say it. A great interview actually, by the way, by John Fallon with Hamer Hallgrimsson last week, speaking about Czechia and stuff, and speaking about the game. He did say pretty much Alan Brown will come into squad in March, and then he did say though about the camp that was meant to happen in January, where it's very disappointing. It was looking like it was going to happen, and then Stephen Bradley's words kind of put it on the back burner. I don't know why Stephen Bradley's words make that much of an impact. I know it's his Shamrock Rovers, and he is the main Irish football manager based in Ireland at the moment. But the Irish national team manager should be in charge. It should be if I had my way, and I know there's a lot of Shamrock Rovers links in the League of Ireland, or sorry, in the Abbottstown at the moment. Obviously, a lot of ex people who obviously have good relationship with Rovers, and so they don't want to burn a bridge or anything like that. But like the reality is, like Hamer was so keen for this to happen, such a good idea. Um, and I would just said, okay, we won't pick any Shamrock Rovers lads anyway, so we'll go ahead without them because there was enough options to go without them. It seemed like he wanted to pick from John's article, he wanted to pick lads from the MLS, League of Ireland, and the likes of Jayden Ume, Trent Coney, Doherty, lads that are kind of young talents coming through that can make an impact in the future, which would have been, I think, the idea of the thought of that, Martin, is something that
Yeah.
gets me excited. I think of our young Irish players that obviously I watch regularly getting a chance to play for Ireland, which is doing a cut. And like, his Jayden Ume could have made his Ireland first team debut before he made his Benfica, but that puts a lot of pressure on a team like Benfica. Think Ireland thinks so highly of them, why
Yeah.
aren't we pushing him through? Even though I do think he will, he's just that good that he will be pushed through. But like even like IK Razi, I know he's injured and he would have been injured for it, but someone like him as well, unbelievable young player. Even like Romeo Akachukwu, who's gone out on loan from Southampton. There's so many good young players have been brought in, and I was thinking actually the other day, it probably would have been. I'm almost certain it would have been during like the winter break in some of these leagues, so he would have been able to bring in some lads based in. Do Portugal take a Christmas break? Would Joe Hodge been able to come in? I don't
think
know if someone can tell me if Portugal do. Even like the lads in Germany, Conor Noss, Ryan Johansson, obviously they're well away in Bundesliga 3, but they're two of them are very good, technically for good players. Something like that is something like a good like source. They're still young, like Conor Noss. Looks like his team will get promoted and he'll be in Bundesliga 2 next year. And it wasn't that long ago he was playing in the Austrian Bundesliga. So it would have been like lads like that could have came in if they're in the middle of their window. I know Serie A don't take it, so like someone like Corey and Daba couldn't have. Aaron Ochoa as well could have come in, obviously playing for Malaga in Spain, who have a short winter break as well. So it would have been so good, and I can't believe it didn't happen. And not that I didn't, can't, but I expected it not to happen, but I can't believe the reason it didn't happen is Stephen Bradley's whole like his comments publicly kind of put it on hold, and you don't like. I can understand, like, but like the reality is, I would just think don't pick him or just don't pick Shamrock Rovers lads and let Shamrock Rovers have to deal with the likes of maybe Jack Byrne, Matt Healy. I don't think maybe Graham Burke would be too old to come into something like that. But lads be like told, oh yeah, who would have been desperate to come into the camp being told, oh yeah, we just didn't want, we wouldn't release you. So it's very disappointing. I can understand why clubs wouldn't want to release players, but there needs to be more unity, as I've said before about the dual nationality situation where myself and you spoke about last week. 35 minutes into last Thursday's video, if you want to hear a passionate rant from myself and Martin about that, I think it's well worth listening to. But yeah, I can't believe that was the reason. Like it's just disappointing. Like I know it's happened, it's gone, and it can't happen. But I do hope they'll qualify in March. Hammer gets his new contract, which I think he does deserve if we do qualify, obviously. And I do think with what he's trying to push forward, he does deserve probably another chance. But like hopefully it comes next January and he will be endeavoured in Irish football folklore forever. He will be instantly top 4 managers Irish of all time. Would he be? Is it what's our it's Jack Charlton? Is Martin O'Neill number 2?
Jack Mick.
Oh yeah, obviously. Sorry, Mick, Jack and Mick are the top 2, and then you have a kind of a tier below them where kind of Martin O'Neill's kind of sitting on. Maybe you could put Trapp on it, but Trapp obviously was some of the football at times.
Oh yeah, but still that Trapp.
Yeah. But I do think Kamer would he would probably just go straight into that category anyway because he's qualified just for a World Cup, like because he will be absolutely adored by us all. So yeah, I think if it got to next January and we qualify, he can kind of just
he can dictate then, and I think he needs a bit more respect though, doesn't it?
Yeah, I think he can kind of laugh, not laugh because it sounds bad, but it's kind of like, oh yeah, you think you can make a big impact, you think you can dictate what I do. It's not possible, but I do find it because it'd be interesting now if Stephen Bradley got the Ireland job next. Would he all of a sudden want to do the camp all of a sudden? I wouldn't be surprised now if that's how it kind of played out if he did get the job. But yeah, I am disappointed. Are you disappointed not see that? I mean, it would have been a trip for us away. It would have been Scandinavia.
I am disappointed with that. But again, I go back to time of the June one against Luxembourg where we were a little bit experimental there and things, and should have kept Boston there. I know he came in a little bit late to it and stuff, but I'm a big fan of even this B international isn't a bad thing to try and do that. Those kind of training camps I think are really important. But on the back of that is the financial situation with the FAI as well. That's going to be a challenge. But yeah, I think for the League of Ireland, ultimately for me, Irish senior football is the premium. That's the ultimate. So everyone else should just be knuckling down and just supporting it as much as possible. The League of Ireland certainly as well. So I don't think that should have really happened not happened because of those reasons, basically. Just on the subject of FAI kind of news, I suppose, Kieran Marley asked what's happened with the Irish underage coaches. Any news on who will be appointed? Anything you've heard on that, Connor?
No, I know the 17s are playing Hungary this week. The squad, I don't know why the squad should have been probably announced today. I said it'll be announced tomorrow. They're playing on Wednesday and Saturday, 17s. It is in Cadiz in Spain. So they're playing. Hopefully, it is streamed. Supposedly, Hungary like to stream games, all their games. So hopefully, that'll be streamed. It'd be good to watch them lads. I believe Victor Ozenvun is back in with that age group for the first time in quite a while, which would be good to see a lot of really talented players himself and
Yeah.
Joshua Dwyer, David Dunn. I could go on and on. Ike Manger, obviously, that was at Man United last week, is in that squad. So yeah, really exciting squad. Hopefully they can beat Hungary in at least one of the games anyway. Well, it's warm up games for the qualifiers anyway. But obviously Paul Osam, who was under 16 manager, stepped up to the 17s because Colin O'Brien had the 17s that was really 18s at the World Cup. So but then Paul is one of the managers. He actually is the only underage manager other than Jim Crawford, but he wasn't on that kind of FAIs. He was on his own 21s per campaign contract. He was Paul was the only one of that group that didn't leave between himself, Colin O'Brien, Tom Moan, and Jason Donoghue. So yeah, Paul is with the 17s now. I think what I heard jobs are starting to be given out right now at this moment. So I don't know who exactly has got underage jobs. I don't even know who's in the running for them, to be honest. But I think they're all being promoted from within at the moment. I think that's what obviously it's the part of the redundancies is keeping lads, obviously, and
Yeah.
you lose some, but you bring lads in. So I'm guessing it's people who are already involved in some. I don't know whether in backroom staffs or maybe coaching other Irish teams coming maybe from the amateur setup or other teams. So I actually don't know. I will try find out. But it will be interesting to see who comes in because they play a massive part. And when you lose someone like Tom Moan, who was so key in everything that was going on in the FAI for so long, obviously Colin and Jason as well, but obviously Tom Moan was head of the scouting department. It is huge that they are replaced with people who are of adequate standard.
Yeah.
But I'm sure
Okay.
it will be.
Yeah. Okay. Well, we'll have it all covered here as well. And make sure if you do want to find out how these young teams are getting on as well, give Connor a follow there at Rep Tracker, of course, and of course ourselves. We've also got this comment here from Good Okfod. I think Heimer gives Devaney a punt. He's definitely a special talent in the making. Yeah, we spoke about him earlier. Fantastic goal. Did we see more in starting next week? I think is that meaning next month?
Oh no, I think he means the next game. To be honest,
Oh, okay.
I think he means probably this weekend for Preston. I don't think so because they won the weekend. Usually managers like to stick with the same teams that they kind of won with, and he only played like 11 minutes in total. So I don't think so, but he'll probably get maybe half an hour, hopefully.
Okay. And Goodacod says as well, I'm a big fan of Harry Vaughan after that Bows game. Is he staying long enough to play some European games for Bows?
Once he goes back, is at the end of June he goes back. So I think maybe first round he could play, maybe second. I'm not 100% sure, but yeah, brilliant young player. I don't even think we've seen near the best when we kind of played as a right number 10 in that team. I think if they played him on the left hand side of it, he would have been a lot better because he likes to kind of start on the left and drift in with the ball, dribble with it and carry it. But yeah, he'll be a huge player for Bows between now and the end of the season. But I think he will play but I wouldn't be surprised though if he does well between now and the end of the season and hold then decide, we'll send him until the end of the year and keep going with Bows doing well, hopefully. So yeah, he's a brilliant player.
All right, brilliant. And we've also got another question here. What do you guys think the odds of Melia, obviously Mason Melia, making the bench this season for the seniors in the Prem, obviously at Spurs? Confirm that he's training with them now. And also Dawson Devoy getting a move out of the League of Ireland. It's great to see Melia, isn't it? Like it's confirmed that he is going to be part of the kind of.
By who?
You confirmed that,
who?
didn't you?
Yeah, you do. Yeah, rep checker confirmed, just so you know. No, yeah. He had a scan on. He had a scan on Friday, which was actually meant to be earlier week, but was moved back to get the go ahead to return to training. Which people think, oh no, what was? But he obviously he had a back injury last season, and then whatever it probably carried till the end of this year. Well, he missed the start of last season, then came back, or missed last pre-season, came back, done very well. Obviously he plays a lot of football with Pats, and he was getting battered every week by defenders, not just in Ireland but in Europe. And then obviously at the end of the season he needed time to recover and stuff. So it took a few weeks probably to recover from that little back niggles that he had. And then he had a straightforward scan just to make sure there was nothing that could affect him long term in it. And now today he started training with the Spurs first team again. No photos have been released or anything yet, any of them training, because I'm guessing they don't want to release any photos after getting embarrassed by United again at the weekend and Romero's red card. So they're probably trying to keep quiet in social media for a few days anyway. But yeah, it'll be great to see hopefully Emilia. I checked, Spurs don't actually play this weekend, so because they were knocked out of the FA Cup, so they don't play this weekend. So he'll have 2 weeks of training. I think he probably will be on the bench probably for the next game, just from the reality of anyway, they have a lot of injuries at the moment. If I don't know if you've seen their bench in recent games, it's just a lot of kids and a lot of young players.
Yeah.
And the thing is, they brought in that lad James Wilson from Hearts, who actually is eligible for Ireland. But like he was playing for Hearts quite a lot last season, not as much this season for their 21s to be their 21 striker. And I think it does emphasise that Mason is considered a first team player, because if Mason was considered a player to just train with the first team here and there, but they wanted to play with the 21s, they would never have signed that lad from Hearts. So yeah, so it's a positive sign that Mason's going to be with the first team rest season, going to get minutes, maybe here or there, might get a few minutes, but I don't think he'll start like any games written with Solanke up front and stuff. And obviously I think Richarlison's injured at the moment, but I think he will hopefully be on the bench for the first available game in the league next week.
Okay. All right. Well, we'll obviously follow him here as well. Great to actually see him a couple of times in action last summer. Saw him obviously at Waterford, and
Yeah,
where he scored a goal, didn't he? I think he did.
yeah, he scored that there. Yeah, he did. Yeah,
And then saw him against
yeah. He could be
Ollie Istanbul.
yeah, but he could be was it you predicted he was going to make the World Cup squad? You think he's going to?
I may have said that he could be a shout.
Yeah, I think if he starts playing, I think especially because of like fast tracking lads and giving lads
With
experience, he could be
injuries
that.
and stuff, if he went on a
Yeah,
scoring run, it's a shame they're not in the FA Cup, isn't it?
yeah, it
Really,
is.
he might
Yeah,
have got
because he could
minutes
have
in
got
that.
minutes. But the thing is, I think he was going to get minutes anyway. And I do think though the way Spurs are playing, like they kind of have to go full strength in these sort of competitions. There are a lot of teams I've seen with Liverpool against Barnsley. Like we thought
Mm.
Trent might have got an opportunity and they went full strength. So I think he just has to show he's good enough to play regularly in training. But I think he must have done it in the early days. He was there before his
Mm.
back injury affected him. But yeah, it's great to see, isn't it?
Yeah, brilliant. Okay. And Nick says, how is Goodrum in Obig, but not Tony Springett playing fairly regularly for Norwich? We don't have everyone in,
Um,
do we? You don't have Keane
you
Dillon in it,
sure?
although he is injured at the moment.
Yeah. Millie Ali is meant to be added in. Jacob Devaney is going to need to be added in.
Yeah.
You can ask Dave. Dave does the admin people. Well, he doesn't choose. I choose. But he's meant to add the players in because he said it takes ages to do a player. So, yeah, Millie Ali needs adding. Tony Springett is doing very well. Tyler Goodrum fairness, he was doing very well, and he is injured now. And thing is, Tony Springett was out for what was he out for like 16, 17 months, and
Mm.
all of a sudden came back and started doing really well for Norwich. But we will add the likes of them in, especially
And
between now and
Morehouse
the end of the
as well,
season.
possibly.
Yeah, hopefully he gets minutes. I think they're quite positive that he will get a debut between now and the end of the season anyway. Because he's definitely better than Jack Fletcher, or not Jack and Tyler. I think depends what position. I think Jack Fletcher's quite a good number 10, but in terms of deeper nepotism, again, Bill, I love to hear that, but I do think it's proper nepotism why Tyler Fletcher's getting minutes in the Premier League for Man United, because he's not that good in my opinion. Obviously, he is a good player, plays for Man United, but yeah. Yeah, Morehouse hopefully will get, but there is a few lads. Killian Kale, unfortunately, was going to be added, but then the issue became of this actually, it's like he's done nothing wrong for Leighton Orient. He was doing quite well. He was playing well, but they went and signed two keepers. I don't remember. Do you remember Daniel Backman? That was the keeper at Watford. With Ben Foster was there. He was number one for a while. Played in the Premier League. Played a lot in the Championship for them when Foster left. He signed for them. Then done his ankle, broke his ankle, I believe. I think Brendan told me he broke it, so I presume he broke it. In the debut and then Killian played that day because obviously he got injured, and then they signed another keeper then on like deadline day. So it's not looking good for Killian's chances at Leighton Orient because he's a very good young keeper. But I don't think the plan was ever to be the number one at Leighton Orient because it was kind of his first chance in men's football. But he is doing well. Actually, another one that may need to be added at left back because of like Bruno Teo Daramola. I spoke of him signing for Sheffield United on deadline day. Made his debut the other day yesterday against Swansea. I thought he actually was quite all right. I thought like obviously defensively he does kind of lapse at times because he's very attacker minded, but every time he had the ball he was very composed. He was always looking to drive them forward. A couple of times he was kind of isolated on his own and he was using his body very well to showing dummies and keeping hold of winning free kicks, etc. So I thought he played like 77 minutes on his debut for Wednesday, and they played a back four. Usually he play in a five. I think that's usually what they play. Anyway, I don't know why he went with a four. So I think he will do quite well with them between now and the end of the season with his attacking capabilities. So hopefully he could be one that maybe be an option for. I have said in the past I think he will be Ireland's left back in the future or slash wing back, but it might take a few years because he does have a few areas to improve. But I think he eventually will be. But that's another lad that could be added, and maybe like I said, Joe
Okay.
Began. But I think League One doesn't help with him.
Yeah, right. Well, we'll have to get onto that, of course. The admin. Let them lads do that. Okay. Right. Just wrapping up the last few comments from this evening. Thanks again for watching and support. And of course, Nick says here, dog tracker. That's in reference to my dog Paddy coming in mid-show, knocking
Your
over. My
dog's called
camera.
Paddy.
Yeah.
That's mad.
Yeah, Paddy.
And it's probably a woman.
No, his ears. He's got his ears. I'm just looking down at him there. He's very content. Yeah, I've got two dogs, Paddy and Saoirse.
Yeah. Just
Proper
really
Irish.
Not dog names anyway.
Paldrick, he gets called that a lot. Anyway, Martin Began says, which bars do you intend to meet up the night before the match in Prague? Is it the Dubliner? We're going to be working on our fanzine. We do one of those obviously for every game. So we're working on that at the moment. So yeah, we will have all the places that are essential visits for when we head over there. So yeah, we will confirm where we're going to be. We'll probably take in a bit of refreshment in a few places I'm expecting. Montreal was a class city, says Frank. I really hope the Canada game pans out. We'll definitely be there. Of course you will. A fantastic support of Irish football.
You don't need to remind us, Frank. We know
No,
you'll be there.
Exactly. Yeah. And Kieran Marley says Malumbi, Taylor and Azaz will be the midfield three if they're fit. That's for taking on Czechia. And Nick also says Czechs midfielders are all big lumps. Don't think any of our midfielders can outmatch them physically, except Boston. He needs to play. Yeah, we've been banging that drum for a long time. And at CFM 1991 says, will Evan Ferguson be fit for March? And
yeah, we think so.
Yeah,
we presume so.
Right, another fantastic live show. Thank you, Connor, for your input this evening. Lots of insight into where our players are getting on, especially in O-Big, and our young players as well. As Connor said there, we've got some underage action with the Republic of Ireland coming home in the next few weeks. We'll be obviously covering that as well, and we'll also be, really importantly, covering the draw this Thursday, 5 o'clock. We'll let you know when we're doing a show, of course, but we want to get your reaction to that as well. That's the Nations League draw. Really excited to see that. And then everyone I know will be on tenterhooks waiting to see if their application for a away ticket in Czechia was successful. That's where it's got to be announced by the FAI from Friday. So a really busy week in Irish football. We've got the League of Ireland coverage as well. Make sure you do check out all our social media platforms for little comments, little videos, all our shorts, everything going on there. And we are the most interactive Irish football podcast out there. Thanks again for your interaction this evening and your support of the show. Connor, anything to add before we go?
No, I don't have it.
Very happy, content Connor. That's what we want. Right.
Oh, sorry. God, I said Sheffield United, not Wednesday. Sorry, yeah. Sorry, that was I think you realise I didn't mean to say United. Yes, yeah. Sorry, apologies.
Yeah. Okay. Right. We're over now. Thanks again for your support, and we'll catch you in the next one. Come on, you boys in green.